You just closed on a $400,000 house. The realtor handed you the keys. You took the obligatory photo for Instagram. Your friends are commenting, "Congrats!" And so happy for you. Everyone's telling you this is the smartest financial decision you'll ever make. And for about 48 hours, you believe them. Then month one happens. And reality hits like a freight train carrying a mortgage statement. I'm Sam, and I've performed forensic autopsies on hundreds of homeowner situations in their first year. What I'm about to show you isn't the dream they sold you at closing. It's the mathematical reality that starts the moment you sign your name 47 times and become a debt slave to a 30-year sentence. Because here's what nobody tells you. Buying the house is the easy part. It's living with the systemic trap that separates homeowners from home prisoners. Let's start with what happens on day one. Literally the first day you own this $400,000 house, you wake up excited, you own a house. The American dream, right? Then you check your bank account and realize you just wrote checks totaling about $45,000. Down payment, closing costs, inspection fees, appraisal, title insurance, prepaid property taxes, homeowner's insurance, moving costs. $45,000 just evaporated from your liquid savings. That money is now dead equity. It's locked inside walls where it can't earn dividends, can't be rebalanced, can't help you if you have an emergency next month. It's a prison of illiquidity, and you just sentenced your savings to 30 years without parole. Stop. If a professional investor asked you to put 100% of your net worth into a single asset in one zip code with a 6% transaction fee just to get your money out, you'd call them insane. So why do we call it the American dream? Let me show you what month one actually looks like. And I mean the real numbers, not the fantasy your lender sold you. You put 10% down on that $400,000 house. That's a $360,000 mortgage. At today's rates, let's say 7%. Your mortgage payment? $2,395 per month. But that's not your actual housing cost. That's just the beginning of what I call the monthly extraction machine. Here's the full breakdown. Mortgage, $2,395. Property taxes, $400, assuming 1.2% annually, varies by state. Homeowners insurance, $150. HOA fees, $200 if applicable. PMI, $180. Because you only put 10% down. Utilities, $250. Water, electric, gas, trash. Internet, cable, $100. Your actual monthly housing cost? $3,675. Not the $2,395 they told you to focus on, $3,675 every single month, or you lose the house. If you're making $85,000 per year, which is decent, your monthly gross income is about $7,083. That $3,675, that's 52% of your gross income going to housing, not your take-home, your gross. You're not a homeowner. You're operating in what I call the suffocation zone, anywhere above the 28% rule threshold. And we're just getting started. Now let me perform what I call an amortization autopsy on that $2,395 mortgage payment. This is where we dissect where your money actually goes and identify your primary landlord. Month one, you send the bank $2,395. Feels good, right? You're building equity, you're investing in your future. Wrong, dead wrong. Here's the brutal math. Of that $2,395 payment, roughly $2,100, is interest vapor unrecoverable cash you're paying to the bank for the privilege of standing in your own kitchen. You aren't building equity. You're simply the bank's most profitable tenant in a 30-year lease where the rent never goes down. You're only actually buying about $295 worth of your house. 88% of your payment is renting money from your primary landlord, the bank. Over the first year, you'll send the bank $28,740 in mortgage payments. Want to know how much of your house you actually bought? About $3,600. The other $25,140? Interest vapor. That's enough money to buy a decent used car and you just converted it to smoke. But here's your forensic tool for evaluating any housing decision. Let me introduce you to the 7% rule. Take the home price $400,000, multiply by 0.07, and divide by 12. That gives you $2,333 per month. This is your unrecoverable cost floor. This number accounts for mortgage interest vapor, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, and the opportunity cost of your down payment not being invested in the market at 10% returns. If you can rent a comparable house for less than $2,333, you aren't throwing money away. You're buying your freedom at a discount while your neighbor pays a premium for the illusion of ownership. And in most markets, you can rent a $400,000 equivalent house for $2,500 to $2,800. You're paying more to own, not less, more. Now let's talk about what happens in month 3. This is where the extraction events start. Your water heater makes a weird noise. It's 12 years old. The inspector mentioned it might need replacing soon. Soon just became now. That's $1,500 you need immediately. Your garage door opener breaks $400. Your fence panel blows down in a storm. $600 to replace. The HVAC filter needs changing every month. $15 each time, but you forgot 3 months in a row, and now the system is working harder, running up your electric bill by an extra $40 per month. These aren't hypotheticals. These are the standard wealth extraction events that every homeowner faces. The rule of thumb is 1% to 2% of your home's value annually for maintenance. On a $400,000 house, that's $4,000 to $8,000 per year in unrecoverable costs. But here's what nobody tells you. Homeownership is a part-time job you aren't getting paid for. You're the unpaid janitor for an asset the bank technically owns. It's weekends spent at Home Depot instead of with friends. It's the mental load of managing a deteriorating physical asset while the bank collects the profit through interest vapor. You're already spending 52% of your income on housing. Where does that $6,000 in annual maintenance come from? Credit cards at 22% interest. Now you're paying interest on your repairs, interest on your mortgage, and hemorrhaging money through property taxes and insurance. Let me show you the total cost of ownership formula. This is what that $400,000 house actually costs you in year 1. Mortgage payments, $28,740. Property taxes, $4,800. Insurance, $1,800. HOA fees, $2,400. PMI, $2,160. Utilities, $3,000. Maintenance, $6,000 conservative estimate. Interest vapor, $25,140, the unrecoverable portion. Total $48,900 in year 1 to own a $400,000 house. That's $4,075 per month in real cost, and that's assuming nothing major breaks. Meanwhile, you could rent a comparable house for $2,700 per month. Over 12 months, that's $32,400 in rent. The difference? $16,500. That's how much extra you're paying to own versus rent in year 1. And what did you get for that $16,500? You bought $3,600 worth of principal paydown. The rest? Interest vapor, maintenance, taxes, insurance. You paid $16,500 for $3,600 in equity. That's not investing. That's financial masochism. But wait, there's something even more insidious. Let me show you the opportunity cost of that $40,000 down payment. If you had invested that $40,000 in a basic S&P 500 index fund earning 10% annually, after 1 year, you'd have $44,000. That's $4,000 in gains, liquid and accessible. But it's sitting in your walls instead as debt equity. And your house appreciated by 4% in year 1? That's $16,000 in appreciation. Sounds good until you realize you can't access that without selling the house and paying a 6% exit tax. Your transaction fee on freedom, that's $24,960 in realtor fees. So your $16,000 in appreciation costs you $25,000 to access. You're underwater on your own investment before you even factor in the interest vapor you've been lighting on fire. Now here's what happens in month 6. The psychological extraction. Your best friend calls. There are job opportunities across the country. $30,000 raise. Dream position. Perfect career move. You can't take it, you're anchored. To move, you'd have to list the house, pay the 6% exit tax, $24,960, hope it sells quickly, hope the market doesn't drop, and coordinate everything with your new job start date. Even if everything goes perfectly, you'll pay $25,000 just for the privilege of moving for your career. That $30,000 raise? It just became a $5,000 raise after you pay the exit tax. Your renter friend? They gave 30 days notice and moved. No exit tax, no debt equity, no suffocation zone. They just took a $30,000 raise and built their liquid empire. You sacrificed optionality, the most valuable asset in a modern economy, for the illusion of ownership. Now let's talk about month 12, the tax reckoning. You sit down to do your taxes. You've been told that homeownership comes with massive tax benefits. The mortgage interest deduction is going to save you so much money, right? Wrong, dead wrong. You paid $25,140 in interest this year. Sounds like a huge deduction, but the standard deduction for 2024 is $14,600 for a single filer. $25,140 in interest minus the $14,600 standard deduction equals $10,540 in additional deductible amount. At a 22% tax bracket, that saves you about $2,318 in taxes. You paid $25,140 to save $2,318. You've been told that interest is your friend because it's deductible, but the math proves you're just lighting $22,822 on fire to get a $2,318 coupon. That's not a tax strategy. That's financial illiteracy marketed as wisdom. And here's the real psychological trap. Let me introduce you to what's actually happening on Instagram. That post of your friend's new house? That's not a financial update. That's a status signal. They're participating in conspicuous consumption, what economists call a Veblen good. They're mimicking the behavior of the wealthy by destroying the actual mechanism of wealth creation. They're trading future compounding assets for a status symbol that strangers don't even care about. This is pecuniary emulation, spending money to signal success while actually bleeding wealth through interest vapor and debt equity. Real wealth is silent, it's liquid, it's optional. It's the ability to say yes to opportunities and no to toxic situations. That Instagram post? That's poverty cosplaying as prosperity. So what really happens after you buy a $400,000 house? You spend the next 12 months realizing that ownership and freedom aren't the same thing, that equity and liquidity aren't the same thing, that Instagram posts and financial reality aren't the same thing. You realize you're the unpaid janitor for the bank's assets. You're the debt slave in a 30-year sentence. You're trapped in the suffocation zone, watching opportunities pass by because you're anchored to debt equity. So here's what you should have done instead. Run the forensics first. Calculate your real total cost of ownership. Perform an amortization autopsy on your proposed mortgage. Apply the 7% rule to find your unrecoverable cost floor. Factor in the 6% exit tax if you might move within 7 years. Make sure your total housing costs are under 28% of gross income, not 52%. Buying a $400,000 house makes sense if your income comfortably supports it under 28% of gross. You plan to stay 7+ years to overcome the exit tax. You have a real emergency fund beyond your down payment. You're not sacrificing career optionality. The 7% rule proves it's cheaper than renting. But if you're stretching to make it work, convincing yourself the tax benefits justify it, or buying because Instagram made you feel behind, you're about to learn a very expensive lesson about the difference between assets and liabilities. Here's the truth they don't want you to know. You aren't behind if you're renting. You're refusing to be a debt slave. While the world anchors itself to walls and interest vapor, you're building a liquid empire that gives you the optionality to say no to toxic bosses and yes to your own life. You're not trapped in the suffocation zone. You're not paying a 6% exit tax on your freedom. You're not the bank's favorite tenant in a 30-year lease. You're liquid, sovereign, and dangerous, and that's the real flex in a modern economy. What really happens after you buy a $400,000 house? You learn that financial freedom and homeownership aren't always the same thing. Sometimes they're opposites. Run the numbers, be honest with yourself, and if you do buy, do it because the forensics support it, not because everyone else is doing it. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and if you'd like to know more about real estate, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.